I love this. I wrote this presentation about 2 weeks ago, and my God, listening to today, even in my jet-lagged state, NDC confusion continues. I couldn't have picked a better title. Oh my God. But what I have done is I'm not a great user of social media, anyone that knows me, but I did actually do a little bit of research. And the stuff I was seeing in the Australian market all over the social media, oh my God. I would have thought by now it was crystal clear what's happening in the marketplace. Clearly it isn't. So we've got a great opportunity today to clear some of those up. But I'm not going to read any of this out. You're more than capable of reading it all yourself. But hopefully you would have seen, these are like, oh no, Ian hasn't made these up. These were genuinely picked from the social media sites. It's still a mystery. Wow. So what am I going to do? I'm going to try and clear it up a little bit. And then we move into the panel session. And hopefully any of your questions you want, that will clear it up even more. I think part of the reason is that there are two streams to NDC at the moment. And one is the technical, which isn't there yet. And everyone keeps talking about it, and we're talking as if all the airlines and all the GDSs and the agents and everyone else can do all of these things. Even if an agent connects direct to an airline at the moment, the airline doesn't have those capabilities themselves in their own merchandising engine. They're being built, they're coming, they're very close to being out there, but they're not there. You've got two main streams within the technical side. You've got the connections, whether that's a GDS connecting to the airline or an agent connecting direct. But those connections, and it isn't just like you need a pipe, it's the capability within those pipes. And that's where the confusion comes as well. We're not talking about a simple look, book, and modify. We're talking about all of the complexities around offers and personalization and frequent flyer and the data that needs to go through there. So you've got this building the capabilities, and then what people are starting to talk about but not delivering at the moment is then the commercial side. So, and the control that's going back into the airlines, because the booking's going to be made on the airline side, but you've got the financial models that are changing, and that's partly, in this market with your QF channel. But then you've also got the exciting bit. I used to be in an airline, and this really makes it exciting. And I think for the whole industry it is when we're actually starting to use those capabilities. But the capabilities haven't been built yet, not finalized. And so you can't start using them. But that's what's starting to drip out. And I think perhaps that's where there is some of the confusion and some of the frustration. I've used this slide several times before, but it doesn't change. These are capabilities. And what I try to emphasize is this is what NDC allows you to do, which is very difficult, if not impossible, to do with ATPCO Edifact. But it doesn't mean that's what the airlines are going to do. It just gives them those capabilities. So they're talking about fares to offers. You're talking about being fast, agile. Ancillary sales, but most of the ancillary sales will be done through an offer, because until you get one order, you've still got this mess of EMD payments, etc., etc. Dynamic pricing. Most of the airlines are talking about that now, smoothing out this curve. Alan mentioned it this morning about 26 booking classes. Differentiation. No one's talking about it. This is the sexy one. And what's great is I've listened to 2 TMCs today who's all said, oh, we're going to bring you full content. How do they know? Because the airline's going to decide what they give to them. And they may not like them. So when ATPI is on stage going, we'll bring you full content, unless Qantas agrees to give them full content, they won't get it. Because they would know that it's ATPI that's making that booking, and they may choose to not return full content. We can ask Igor later if that's what he plans to do. And personalisation. What do you want to do on personalisation? Different airlines talking about different things. Is it down to Ian Heywood as an individual? Is it down to the agency level? Is it down to a corporate level? Is it down to a frequent flyer level? So those are the capabilities. What are we hearing in the marketplace? Airlines are all talking about fares to offers. Amex are coming on stage. AA are coming on stage. they're talking a lot about we're going to do this around the corporate offers side, leisure offers as well. Everyone wants to grow ancillaries. They want that ancillary revenue money. And as I said, most of that's going to be done in offers. It's going to be done by building the fare families out, because that's the way it's easier to sell in the market at the moment. They're talking about a lot, everyone's talking about increasing these pricing points. Everyone's talking about being more dynamic, talking about personalisation, differentiation, missing offer there. No one's talking about it at the moment, but it's a big thing you can do. This is a huge frustration. When I was on that social media site, everyone's going on about financial models, commercial models. I'm going to lead to your disappointment. That is the slide. No one is going to talk about commercial models, financial models, what's happening, unless it's on a one-to-one basis. Now, the airlines are here, the GDSs are here. You know, people will have those conversations, but it's only going to be on a one-to-one basis. It's not going to be in a public forum, partly because it's illegal, a lot of it, but, you know, they're confidential. How Qantas are going to use those capabilities, they may talk about it, you know, sort of at this level, up in the clouds. They're not going to stand on stage and tell you exactly what they're going to do, partly because they don't know yet. They haven't got it working. They don't know what's going to be successful, what's not. But also, that's their commercial strategy. They're not going to make that public. And they would never, ever talk about that. So some of the frustrations that are out there are just going to remain out there because, you know, no airline, no commercial body, whether it's an airline or anyone else, will talk about their commercial strategy. So that's your commercials and financials. It was a hard slide to put together. I talk about carrots and sticks. Qantas Channel is clearly a stick. Now, what's interesting about the Qantas Channel is it still has two pipes in it. So you've still got the ATP code and the API. What Qantas will want to do is move you across to the API channel, the NDC channel, because that's where they can do all the work with those capabilities. So what you're going to see is pressure moving from all of the airlines, and that's why you see surcharging and everything else going on, because they want to move that way. Because unless they start getting the bookings coming through the API, through the NDC channel, then you can't use the capabilities. How they're going to encourage, I love the word encourage because that can be a carrot or a stick, they're going to encourage people to move that way, the agency market. If it doesn't move fast enough, I think you're going to see more sticks, because I'm not sure the carrots will encourage people to move that fast. I was having to think, what do I think is going to happen in the next 6 months? This is the last slide, so you'll be pleased I finish. QDP will be fully functional, right? It's always going to continue to be developed, but you can basically say the basic core, what's being planned, will be developed, will be delivered in the next 6 months. That's great, because then you can talk about how do you use it rather than is it being there. The GDSs, I believe, they will be connected, up and running. Agents will be able to access that content because they can either connect direct or they can come in through their GDS partners. Technologies will stop being an inhibitor. That is what is the inhibitor today. Nothing else. It's the technology. It isn't fully developed. It isn't deployed in the marketplace. Qantas will start seeing some results coming through. So they're going to learn on those, what works, what doesn't work. At the moment, you've got all the whiteboard exercises that's going on, but they don't know until you start deploying it in the marketplace what's going to encourage people to buy their services more. You've got so much more things that you can do. So they start experimenting, see what comes through. When I've done other presentations, I talk about flipping those capabilities on their head. And for the agents and the corporates, and for those that are in the room, please, you've got to get involved, you've got to start thinking about this, is those capabilities work two ways. They can work for you as an agent. So what do you want out of them? How can you go and have a sensible conversation with an airline and say, I know you can differentiate content, so I want you to do this for me. And I will then deliver this for you. I can do corporate offers differently. So you don't sit there waiting for Qantas to come up with all the way they do their corporate offers. Go and talk to them and start making it work for you. Differentiation. At the moment, all of the agents get access to the last seat availability, the same fare rules, the same fares on the public side, not necessarily the net side. Now the airline can treat you differently. You can go, hey, I'm a big supporter of you. Why are you not giving me better stuff than someone else? You're in a competitive marketplace. So you've got to start thinking, how can you make that work? And I believe the agents and the corporates will, and they'll start be talking to the airlines about deals. Other airlines will start coming into the market. You've got ones that have been out there public. So Singapore Airlines is out there, obviously American Airlines. Some of the other American airlines are talking, all coming in here. And then questions are being asked around what about the more local airlines in this market. So I believe there will be starting to be more and more airlines that are selling in this market. And then, as I'm saying, more carrots and sticks to get people to start using that NDC channel will start happening, because that's what you need to make it successful. You can only personalize, you can only differentiate, you can only make your corporate offers if you're getting that content through an NDC. So the airlines will be encouraging that to happen.